Welcome to the daily English news program in Azərbaycan Televiziya. With you, your host, İlham, with the most important events of the day. The victorious Azərbaycan Army liberated Birinci Ağali, İkinci Ağali, Üçüncü Ağali, Zəməli villages of Zəngilan district, Mandalı village of Füzuli district, Qazanzəmi, Xanabulaq, Çullu, Quşçular, Qaraağac villages of Cəbrayıl district, Qiyasli, Əbilcə, and Gilijan villages of Qapalı district from occupation. Long live Azərbaycan Army. Karabakh is Azerbaijan. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham made a post on his official Twitter account. I pray to God to rest the souls of those killed as a result of Armenian armed forces missile attacks on Bərdə. Offer my condolences to their families and wish the injured recovery. The blood of Bərdə residents will not remain unavenged, and the aggressors will give a decent rebuff on the battlefield. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham made a post on his official Twitter account. President of Azerbaijan, İlham sent a letter of congratulations to President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The letter reads, "Dear Mr. President, dear brother, on my own behalf and on behalf of the people of Azerbaijan, I extend my sincerest congratulations to you and all the people of your country on the occasion of the National Day of the Republic of Turkey, Republic Day. The brotherly Turkey is today moving forward on the path of comprehensive and dynamic development. Its achievements have ensured its place among the world's most powerful and advanced countries. Committed to its statehood interests, Turkey demonstrates a fair and resolute stance on ongoing global and regional processes. Azerbaijani-Turkish friendship and brotherhood draw strength from the shared national and spiritual values and traditions of our peoples. I am confident that our alliance, strategic partnership, which is based on mutual trust and support, will continue to contribute to the well-being of our peoples and overall development of our countries. On this remarkable day, I wish you the best of health, successes in your endeavors, and the brotherly people of Turkey everlasting peace and prosperity. Respectfully, İlham, President of Azerbaijan." President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham, was interviewed by Russian Interfax agency. The Azerbaijani army has proven its superiority on the battlefield. President İlham said this in his interview to Russia's Interfax agency. The head of state said Füzuli, Cəbrayıl, Zəngilan, Qapalı towns as part of Xocavənd region have been liberated, and Azerbaijan wants the conflict resolution to switch from the military stage to the political stage, in case the Armenian side undertakes commitment to withdraw its troops from the rest of the occupied territories. This includes a part of Ağdam region, the entire Laçin region, and a part of Kəlbəcər region, said the head of state, adding that it coincides with the basic principles. Characterizing the position of Armenian Prime Minister, who has made contradictory statements over the recent days, President İlham said, "He is indeed in a miserable situation." Touching on the activity of the Minsk Group co-chairs, President of Azerbaijan has said that Minsk Group has not proven itself in terms of efficiency. Of course, numerous questions emerged due to the fact that the Minsk Group co-chairs, being the three permanent members of the UN Security Council, through nuclear states, failed to exert pressure on Armenia. The head of state has said it will be in favor of the region if Turkey and Russia unite their efforts, and thus will be able to accelerate political resolution of Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. President İlham noted that the conflict would have been solved even if sanctions had been imposed on Armenia, but there was no political will or intention to impose sanctions. The head of state has reiterated that there will never be a referendum in the internationally recognized territories of Azerbaijan, and independence of Nagorno-Karabakh will never be recognized. Even Armenians themselves do not recognize it. Recognition of Nagorno-Karabakh's independence by any country will result in the disruption of diplomatic relations with that country. As regards to Armenian Prime Minister's wish to have peacekeepers in the conflict zone, President İlham said that is not his business. When speaking of the conflict zone, Azerbaijan's territory is meant, and Azerbaijan must have a decisive way, though these issues have not been discussed widely. Asked about the casualties, President İlham said it will be made public after the war is over, and underlined that our casualties are minimal compared to those of Armenia's. Unmanned aviation is an important factor of our combat capability, said President İlham, underlining that the current war experience will be useful for a number of countries planning future activity on military build-up, and even for Azerbaijan itself. In his interview, the head of state says that Armenia has not accepted the bodies of the Armenian servicemen killed in the battles, so the Armenian side has been informed about it many times, they reject it. Speaking about the prospects of restoration in the liberated territories, President İlham Aliyev said, "We have already changed the geopolitical situation of the region in a number of issues, and numerous stereotypes are already left behind." On September 28th, President İlham Aliyev received the visiting delegation led by Special Envoy of the President of Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Seyit Abbas Araghchi. Greetings, the Special Envoy of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Seyit Abbas Araghchi. The head of state said that war was going on for a month and Azerbaijan was liberating the lands from the occupiers and restoring historical justice. Referring to several villages liberated, but saying that our civilians were targeted by the attacks of Armenia, and several hours ago several rockets were launched at Berde, and as a result of this 21 people were killed and more than 70 people were wounded. The head of state added that on October 27th they launched another attack on Berde, which claimed the lives of 4 people, including one 7-year-old girl. Saying that Armenia was responsible for the violation of all the 3 ceasefire announced, President İlham Aliyev noted that all our cities and villages liberated from the occupation were destroyed, as if the savage tribe inhabited these lands. Our mosques were destroyed and desecrated by the Armenians. They kept pigs and almost destroyed mosque in Zangilan district. Recalling with satisfaction that Azerbaijan-Iran state border was completely restored and extending his congratulations on this occasion to Azerbaijanis and Iranis, the President added that he had given instructions to the State Border Service to establish all the security infrastructure along the border. Please extend my gratitude to President Rouhani. During this period he called me. We had a very good conversation, and Iran-Azerbaijani ties are developing rapidly over the last year. Also signed documents and reached agreements are implemented. I am sure that our ties built on the historical roots will continue to develop in the future. Welcome again, said President İlham Aliyev. Expressing his gratitude for receiving him, Special Envoy of the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Seyit Abbas Araghchi extended condolences to the Azerbaijani people and Azerbaijani state for the people who lost their lives as a result of the rocket attack to Berde city. Saying that from the very first day Islamic Republic of Iran supported the territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, the guest extending his congratulations on the occasion of victories claimed by the Azerbaijani army on the battlefield and liberation of some of the occupied territories. I also convey to you the warm regards of President of Iran Hassan Rouhani, said Seyit Abbas Araghchi. The enemy is not giving up on its bloody tactics. This time, the peaceful civilians were targeted. On October 28th, at around 1 p.m., Armenian armed forces, using cluster bombs prohibited by international law, launched attacks at densely populated areas of Berde district where trade facilities are located. According to the Prosecutor General's Office of Azerbaijan, as a result of the attacks, 21 civilians were killed and nearly 70 civilians were wounded. Civil infrastructure facilities and vehicles were extensively damaged. Bombs were fired in almost all directions of the city, specifically targeting people's homes. Many civilians were killed and cars were damaged. People who were standing here lost their lives. A truly horrific act of terror took place. The world should not remain silent.
Çox. Onun kadrım var.
Majority of the injured are at the reanimation and intensive care department. The Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Neyban Aliyeva, has made an Instagram post on another missile attack by the Armenian armed forces on Berdem. The post reads, "On this day, the armed forces of Armenia have made another attack inhuman by its cruelty against civilians of the Azerbaijani city of Berdem. In the aftermath of this strike, 21 persons were killed, while 70 people have got serious injuries. The number of victims, unfortunately, continues its rise. Such barbaric attacks show that the atrocities of Armenians have no limits. Furthermore, attack on civilian population of Azerbaijan proves the total moral degradation of insane military and political leadership of Armenia. The aim of these attacks is clear: to frighten the Azerbaijani people and force our army to give a retaliatory blow into the territory of Armenia to make possible the engagement of third parties into the conflict. Hence, our enemy must know that nothing will oblige us to reverse from this right pathway. Each strike does nothing but makes us stronger and convinces us about the necessity of completion of the sacred mission of liberation of our occupied territories from Armenian aggressors. I express my deep condolences to the families of the dead and wish the soonest recovery of the injured. In these days, when the Azerbaijani army is pressing the enemy on the battlefield, we should keep up our unity and be strongly united around our president. Only being united into a staunch fist, we will obtain the triumphant justice, because Karabakh is Azerbaijan. May Almighty Lord bless our motherland and the Azerbaijani people." The shelling of Berdem with cluster munitions by the Armenians is yet another glaring example of this country's vandalism and barbarism. Assistant to the Azerbaijani president, head of the Foreign Policy Affairs Department of the Presidential Administration, Hikmet Hacıyev, said this at the briefing held for ambassadors of foreign countries at ADA University. It was stated that Armenians' demand for ceasefire is nothing but dissimulation and hypocrisy.
Armenian military units fire on civilians in Ganja, Barda and other regions. Many civilians were killed and injured as a result of the missiles fired at Barda on October 27th and 28th. This is a step against humanity. AD to the President, head of the Foreign Policy Department of the Presidential Administration, Hikmet Hacıyev, said at a briefing for ambassadors at Ado University. Hikmet Hacıyev called on the international community to put an end to these war crimes of Armenia. They use ballistic missiles as they did in Ganja. This is terrorism against Azerbaijan, a clear example of racism. Quote, "They are committing war crimes against our civilians, the elderly and our children. Armenia will be held responsible for this. At the same time, it is a policy of ethnic cleansing and a continuation of the Khojalı genocide. But the tools and instruments are changing. At that time, during the Khojalı genocide, the Armenian leadership used the armed forces to kill civilians. More than 600 civilians were killed during the Khojalı genocide. After 20 to 25 years, they do the same thing. Now they are attacking civilians using weapons prohibited by international conventions. Armenia's demand for ceasefire is nothing but dissimulation and hypocrisy." End of quote. The presidential AD noted that the Armenian side is also encroaching on the world's cultural heritage. The aggression does not allow people to visit the graves of their deceased relatives. Cemeteries and tombstones are being set on fire and destroyed. Armenia has also destroyed cultural and religious monuments in our occupied territories. The demolition of the mosque in Shushar is a clear example of this. Armenia, which keeps cattle in sacred temples, is attacking not only people but also cultural heritage. Azerbaijan has been following the provisions of UNESCO on the protection of cultural monuments since the beginning of the conflict. Armenia has violated a number of international conventions by destroying Azerbaijan's cultural heritage. It was emphasized that after the liberation of our territories, all historical and cultural monuments will be restored. Unfortunately, the manuscripts and other important documents in the possession of our museums were destroyed or stolen and then sold on the black market. This was stated by First Deputy Minister of Culture, Acting Minister of Culture Anar Kerimov. Noting that these documents are being monitored, Anar Kerimov stressed that our valuable carpets were found at some auctions. These carpets and valuable exhibits will be returned to Azerbaijan. According to Russian archives, there were 300 mosques in the territory of the Yerevan Khanate. At present, only one mosque remains in the center of Yerevan. This is another proof of historical terrorism, emphasizing that our country has always respected multicultural values. Ara University Vice Rector Fariz Ismailzadeh said that Azerbaijan has restored churches, synagogues and many cultural monuments in different countries, and this is sustainable.
Following brutal aggression on October 27th, a new hateful and treacherous attack was launched against civilians in Berdaz city outside the Armenian-Azerbaijani conflict zone. As a result, 21 civilians were killed and more than 70 were injured. We condemn these vile attacks by Armenia against civilians, regardless of whether they are children, young or old. This statement came from the Turkish Foreign Ministry in connection with the recent terrorist attack by Armenia on Berdaz. It is said that this treacherous policy pursued by Armenia to kill the civilian population is a manifestation of the sick mentality behind the Khojaly genocide. The Armenian leadership, which is doing everything possible not to leave the occupied territories, is acting as if it lost their mind and consciousness. The latest attack has taken its shameful place in the list of war crimes committed by Armenia, for which it will be held accountable. It is high time that the international community, including the Minsk Group co-chairs, reacted to Armenia, the statement said. Azerbaijan army avenged the attack on Berdaz on the battlefield. A large quantity of military vehicles and manpower of the enemy were destroyed as a result of precise strikes of our units. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us and see you next time.